Sometimes it's really important to understand that the end of a chapter doesn't mean the end of you. It means it's just the end of that past and the lessons you learnt, the lessons that you're meant to learn. And it's the beginning of something brighter and newer, and be open to new life lessons. So my name's Wendy and this is Grounded Gen X. I've had a bit on this morning, and I wanted to get a video out today. So I am definitely a non-scripted, minimal editing if I can, because I think that it's important for you to see the real me and real people on YouTube. So if it feels good for you, follow along. So this morning, so I'm in my kitchen. I've got a few things on the go here, and there's a good reason for that. And I'll get into that in a tick. So yeah, come along and let's just keep moving as we chat. The reason I'm doing some batch cooking is there's two things. So I have this philosophy which I teach the women in my Grounded Women Circle group, that meal prepping is very important if you want to buy yourself back some time. Okay, so that if that's all you need to do, buy yourself time back. Meal prep, honestly, it works $1 million. But also I always talk with women around health and weight loss and that, and so meal prepping helps them to come home from work or a busy day, or just when they're feeling a bit low in energy or decision fatigue, and it's ready for you to go. So whether it's actually, separated into meals, or you've just got options in the fridge, you're all ready to go. So that's a beautiful thing I love about meal prepping, and I encourage it and teach people to do that in my group. But this is not why I'm meal prepping. I might have mentioned it in my other videos that I'm going to be a grandmother in less than 5 weeks. And so my son and his gorgeous, I love her, fiance, they live a couple of hours away from me. And they do come back a bit often because my son plays footy locally. But they've both been working full on. So she's very pregnant now. I don't know if you've been pregnant before, but I've had 3. And honestly, as that last 4 to 6 weeks, that's when the baby puts all its subcutaneous fat on. You start growing a lot. It starts using a lot of energy, and she's getting tired. So I'm meal prepping for them. So and I'm still going to keep going while we chat, so I don't run out of time. My camera's sitting on lasagna sheets, so I will eventually have to move that, but not just yet. So I'm going to move you closer. So what I'm making is like real mum specials. Like, I'm a mum through and through. So I'm making a pot of soup. And so this pot of soup that I'm making is a recipe I learned how to do this when I was a child. So I used to stay with, the other day I was talking to you about aunties that are not real aunties. So they're friends of our parents, and that might be aunties and uncles, but we call them auntie and uncle. So this was my Auntie Jean. Auntie Jean's she passed away in 20 years ago now. And so she was born in 1919, God love her. And I loved that woman. Oh my God, she was probably more like a grandmother to me. I never had any grandparents as such, because all of my grandparents had passed away before I was born. And so she was more like a grandparent, but I called her Auntie Jean. And she taught me how to make soup. So I'm making them a pot of soup. It's a chicken veg. I'm making in my crock pot. So this is a crock pot pressure cooker. I'm making a pasta sauce, so a bolognese sauce, and then I'm just going to make a lasagna. And so they can just freeze it, eat it, whatever they need to do. Very much mum foods. And then I've got some I'm going to turn them off now. I've got some grass-fed beef sausages, because I love curried sausages. So I'm just going to make some curried sausages, and they can have it with rice or whatever they want to. And so that's what I'm doing, and so that's why we're having, that's why I'm recording while I'm cooking. So I'm going to get all those things done today because they're coming up on the weekend. I'm talking today about the lessons that I've learned in life, and a bit of oregano in here. So the lessons that I've learned in life, what's important is not what you do, but it's how people feel when they're around you, or been with you, or spend some time with you. How people feel, they won't remember the conversations. in 10 years' time, they're not going to, when they've had 3 kids, they're not going to remember these particular meals that I made them, but they're going to remember how they felt, that they felt supported and looked after and deeply nourished. So reflecting on my life lessons, I had a very long career as a paramedic, so nearly 3 decades. Inside of that, I also had some other qualifications that I studied back in my 40s, and that was in holistic health, so nutrition and naturopathy and women's health. And so I've been able to lean into that for the last couple of years. But that wasn't my plan. So my plan was, when I was 27, I joined to be a paramedic, and I thought that that was going to be until I retired. And that's kind of what I knew, because being a Gen X woman, I grew up in a family where mum stayed home, and my dad he was a tradie, like a linesman, and he worked in the power sort of industry. He'd been with that company for 35 years or so. But even back then, there were some things going on with organisations, but I looked at that and thought, well, I'm going to join an organisation, and that's where I'm going to be until I retire. I'd had a bit of background before that, so I actually travelled around Australia a little bit, well, some of Australia on a push bike, so I rode my bike and with a friend, and so we experienced that for 12 months. So that was a really great experience. And my life lessons, and I think back, how did I feel? How did that leave me feeling? I felt freedom, and I felt empowerment. So I look back and remember how I felt, and that's what my life lessons keep coming back to. How did I feel? After that, I joined the Navy, and the Royal Australian Navy, and I became a medic, and I did that for about 4 years. And I look back and think, what are my lessons about joining the Navy? Oh, there were so many lessons around believing in yourself and being capable and confident. And I felt like I belonged to something, and I felt like I'd learnt I learnt about commitment and courage and strength, strength of mind. And so that was because it wasn't for the faint-hearted, and you couldn't just quit. Like you couldn't. Once you signed up, you had 3 months recruit school, and then you were in, and so that's it. You got to stay the course. And I went on then to eventually join ambulance, and that took me about 5 years, because can you believe it, they weren't recruiting women. I remember how I felt when I was finally accepted, and that's exactly what it feels like: acceptance, validated, empowered, so excited about my future, that now I've got that career that, just like Dad, I can stay. This is an organisation, I can stay there until I retire. We're safe now. Paramedics are the people that go out and look after the 6 people, but who looks after the paramedics? And sometimes it's dog eat dog in that kind of environment, and especially as we started to, time went on and you got older, and there's new people. They changed how you got your qualifications. It became a university degree, and of course more educated, academic, faster, competitive people came into it, and then you feel like you were losing your ability to be able to perform. So my life lessons around the career and leading and how I defined myself, like I lived the life of being a paramedic in my community where I grew up, and there's so many life lessons in that. I defined myself as that caring person who was on call and supported people no matter what. And I eventually decided I had to leave because it wasn't workable anymore, and that left me feeling isolated and lonely, and I didn't know who I was anymore. So that feeling was really hard, and I didn't feel supported at all, and it was a tough time. And I had to really look at who I was. I had to really review all of those different aspects of my life, all those different layers of who is Wendy. She's more than this uniform. She's more than those epaulets. She's more than that marked car that sits in front of her house, that pager that she's carried. She's more than that. But it took me a long time to work that out, and a lot of support too. And that I come to you today still working through those things, and that's why I've created this channel, because there's a lot of people at our age who have probably very similar stories, and telling your story is so very important when you feel confident enough to, and validated enough to as well. It's really important, and taking on the life lessons for yourself, because to move forward we need to learn from them, because we can't keep doing the same things over and over again. So over the last 3 years I've had to really go back and really redefine my experiences and look at them differently, and look at the lessons that I've learned in my life and really take them on board and try and just, change the way I think about things and look at life from a different lens. And it's working for me. What I had to do was look at my physical health, my mental health, and that's why I ended up losing a lot of weight, because I needed to, it wasn't so much about food and diet, not always, like I certainly needed to address those, and I was able to help myself with those, but it was about where was my head, and I had to sort my head out. And to do that I needed to work through a lot of things, because I don't think ever going on a weight loss plan helps unless you sort your head out first. It was important for me to realise that the title didn't define who I was, and that it's really okay to begin again, because you're not beginning again. You're not beginning from scratch. You're beginning from here. You're beginning from wisdom and experience and a life. Like, I've had a whole life, and so I'm not beginning from scratch, but I'm kind of beginning again. But I'm beginning again with a wealth of knowledge, and it's okay to do that if you really want to. It's a funny thing that happened when, not only a few months ago actually, I was in the supermarket, and I tend to steer clear of old staff from my career, because I still feel a bit uncomfortable about that. I'm still trying to work through that. But I crossed paths with one, and he said to me, "How's retirement going?" I thought that was quite interesting, because none of them contacted me when I did leave. And I felt a bit let down by that, and a bit hurt by that, and so I guess that's why I don't sort of worry too much these days about being in touch with too many people. You're gone, you're invisible. People in those organisations, and that one, when you're there, they connect with you and talk to you around the rec room table or on a job, but when you're gone, you don't matter, and that makes me very sad, because people matter to me. And I sort of smiled when he asked me, "How's your retirement?" And I felt so proud in saying to him, I'm not retired. I'm working. I've got a beautiful business, and I've got another life outside of ambulance. And but thank you for asking. Thank you for inquiring. But no, definitely, I'm too young to retire. I'm not ready for that just yet. Sometimes it's really important to understand that the end of a chapter doesn't mean the end of you. It means it's just the end of that past, and the lessons you learnt, the lessons that you're meant to learn, and it's the beginning of something brighter and newer, and be open to new life lessons. And I'm excited for new life lessons, and I hope you're going to be part of that, because I love this. It's a beautiful channel, and I'm very proud to be. I'm only 6 videos in. And I don't mind, that's great. I've got 20 subscribers as I make this video today, and thank you so much to all of you, 20 subscribers. It's beautiful, I love it. Imagine having 20 people in your room, 20 people in my kitchen today. That's the reality of that. So thank you very much, I honour you. I'm so blessed to have you here, and anyone who's watching and not subscribing, hello to you too. Anyway, they're my life lessons, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope that helps you to reflect on your own and what that means for you, and don't be down on yourself. If you're a Gen Xer, you've been through a lot. Just the fact that you were born in the 60s, and we've experienced more, so much more than people ever realise. So be kind to yourself today, be kind to yourself in the future, and I hope to see you in my next video. So my name's Wendy, and this is Grounded Gen X, and I hope to be bringing them to you often. Bye for now, bye.